Whitney Schultz.
Brennan Laugen.
Irina Simmons. Isabel Burke. Jenny Ramirez.
Kylan Johnson.
Hi, my name is Ivy Hartman. Today I will be giving my visual aid speech. Imagine it's a warm summer's day and you've just woken up to the smell of fresh cookies coming from your kitchen to your bedroom. This dream for most was my reality because my mother, like her mother before her, ran an in-home bakery at our house. Growing up around baking, I developed my own passion for it at a very young age. I remember being only 6 years old when I first saw my mom whipping up some food in the kitchen and falling in love with it. As soon as I was able to, I jumped in the kitchen, and I've been in the kitchen learning how to improve on my baking skills and plenty of life lessons. Baking has taught me patience, creativity, and the joy of gifting. My first lesson happened in my grandma's kitchen. She decided that it was time that I learned how to make the family apple pie recipe, and I was enthusiastic because I loved the taste of the apple pie. But as the time went on, and it took longer and longer, I began to lose enthusiasm. First, we had to preheat the oven, which took a few seconds. Then we had to make the dough, which only took a few minutes. Then we had to peel and cut the apples, which took a few more minutes. Then after we assembled the pie, we had to wait even longer for the oven to preheat. When it was finally time to put the pie in the oven, I learned that it would take an hour to cook. I was not super happy, and that hour was probably the longest hour of my life. I kept glancing at the clock, just waiting for the buzzer to go off. When the buzzer finally did go off, I ran to the kitchen, super excited to try the pie I had just worked so hard to make, only to learn that I had to wait another 20 minutes until I could eat it. When that 20 minutes had passed and I heard my grandma call my name and hand me my plate of pie, I dug in immediately. And as I tasted the amazing flavors and wonderful textures, I realized why we needed to be so patient. If we hadn't taken time to peel the apples, I would have gotten skin in my teeth. If we hadn't let the pie bake as long as we had, the crust wouldn't have been as crispy. And if we hadn't let the pie cool for the 20 minutes, I wouldn't have been able to taste any of it over my burnt tongue. Once I learned patience, I moved on to creativity, because being creative takes time. I began by decorating simple cookies and cakes, and then I moved on to adding my own charm to other recipes or developing my own recipes. These are some examples. I began to use creativity every time I stepped into the kitchen, and then I realized that I was using that same creativity even outside of the kitchen, in school, work, and just my everyday life. Once I learned these two skills, I was baking all of the time, and though my dad loved to eat my treats, such as pumpkin pie, he was only one man, and there were some things that he didn't like. So we were coming up with a lot of waste. I didn't know what to do until I came up with the idea of bringing some of my treats to my friends at school. They began to get enthusiastic when I would just pull out the treat container, and I began to love just seeing their faces light up at the idea of getting a gift from me. Once I began to love this smile that I received, I began to combine other things that I loved with gifting, such as gifting to the Humane Society or the local food pantry. And once I discovered that, I began doing other things that maybe I did enjoy, but I just liked seeing a reaction for my community. Overall, baking has taught me how to be patient, creative, and the true joy of gifting. I was lucky to grow up around baking and with parents who had enough money to fund my expensive hobby. I am confident that I will be patient in my life, creative every day, and understand the joy of gifting. What has your hobby taught you?